Violence in the Capitol on Wednesday when pro-Trump rioters stormed the building as the House and Senate were certifying President-elect Joe Biden's victory. Good morning. It's Thursday, January 7th, 2021. I'm Tim Stenevec in New York. Today on Quick Take Charge, we focus on the historic events of yesterday, the implications for our country in every aspect of our lives, at home and abroad, and where the United States goes from here. Let's get right to where things stand right now in Washington, around the world, and on Wall Street. We start with Bloomberg congressional reporter Eric Wassen, who was in the Capitol the moment that the pro-Trump mob stormed in. Eric, thanks so much for being with us. First and foremost, how are you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Yeah, there was really no injury or anything to me personally, and it was very much a privilege to be at the front row of that. So, and I'm glad everyone's mostly safe. Albeit there were some deaths in this as well.
Yeah, there certainly were, and we are really glad you are okay. Well, tell us what the experience was like.
Well, I was covering the House chamber from the inside. The debate was going on about the Arizona objection, and I was actually on pool duty. A lot of our reporters have been pooling information, so I was trying to log every detail, facial expression. It was actually my first inside the chamber of pool duty, so I was trying to grab color, and then I certainly got a lot of color. The debate was interrupted. There was a lot of murmuring, panicked, muffled tones, and then they started saying, lock the doors, lock the doors. One member got up and said, this is because of you, screaming at the Republican side. And then the police officer took the front dais and said that the Capitol has been breached. There are people in the rotunda, and everyone needs to get to their seats. And at that point, members started taking out gas masks. We were handed gas masks as well. And then the pounding on the door started. There's multiple doors to the chamber. There's this eerie sense of what's outside. We didn't really know. We didn't have the visuals that everyone watching at home would have had because we were in the chamber. And they started to they immediately ushered out the top leaders, Nancy Pelosi and others, and then they basically tried to evacuate members on the floor. And at that point, the glass started breaking. They broke through the main front door where the president comes in to give the State of the Union. And there was a moment of terror there for me personally, because I thought maybe they were poking a gun through or were going to shoot up the room. It really wasn't clear. And four police officers came and drew their weapons, pointing at the individual on the other side of the door, saying, back away. So after a while, we were on the floor, crouching with our gas masks, and then we were led away to House office building, and I ended up filing and doing a lot of work from the barber shop in the Rayburn building where members get their discounted haircuts.
Okay, well, you look like you sound like you're speaking about this very matter-of-factly right now. But was there any moment yesterday, perhaps when you were crouched wearing a gas mask, that you felt unsafe?
Yeah, I wasn't wearing a gas mask, but yeah, like I said, I think it may have been a flagpole or whatever was being used to smash through the glass of the door. You just couldn't tell if it was a gun, and certainly at that point, if someone had a machine gun, they could have killed us all. So it was kind of hairy, but we were trying to document the moment, trying to send out reports to let the world know what was happening. So in those moments, as a reporter, you're just trying to do your duty and let the world know what's happening.
There are a lot of questions circling this morning about security and what was there and what wasn't there. So based on your reporting and what you saw yesterday in the chamber, did it seem like security was heavier than normal?
Security was heavier than normal, but certainly it wasn't up to the level that it should have been. And there's big questions that are being raised about that. Tim Ryan is the congressman from Ohio. He oversees the Capitol Hill police budget as part of the Appropriations Committee. He gave a very angry press conference saying people should be fired. I think there's going to be a major inquiry into what happened here. Certainly once they were in the building, police officers had a choice to, either use maximum force, possibly damage the Price's artwork and kill people, or to let them, do a bit of roaming around and then get them out. And I think, that decision will be analyzed, but perhaps it was the right one. I mean, if we had a massacre of hundreds of people today, it would be a very different story in our country. So, but earlier with the perimeter, I think that was maybe not handled correctly. They should have been reinforced, and perhaps they should have had the National Guard there to begin with.
It seems almost crass to even talk about this right now, but political implications here, Eric. Obviously, we're at a time right now where the country is incredibly divided. Lawmakers, of course, there too. Is there a moment you think that we will see or saw bipartisanship increase?
Well, we saw we had evidence of that right away with these votes late at night to certify Biden's win. You saw there were really only 6 or so senators who were going for the objection, that they had made earlier. And even some of those, like Ted Cruz, were later saying, "Okay, now that I've made that, it's time for a peaceful transition of power," which I think is a hopeful sign for reducing violence. But in the House, we saw 138 members, Republican side, vote for an objection. It shows the continued hold of President Trump and the conspiracy theories about the stolen election do have on the Republican side. I actually don't think all the members who voted for it actually believe those theories. A lot of them are just very worried about being primaried in 2022. They are in these gerrymandered, very Republican districts. So I think we're seeing, some members really reticent, and a lot depends on President Trump's behavior in the coming days.
Yeah.
There is talk of perhaps impeaching him to prevent him from running again, which he can do under the Constitution or even the 25th Amendment. So, if we see another repeat of yesterday, I think things could change very rapidly for Mr. Trump.
Well, let's talk about let's talk about impeachment and the 25th Amendment. Is there actually bipartisan support for that, or is that mostly right now coming from Democrats? I know the 25th Amendment element would be his cabinet, people close to the president.
Democrats, for the most part, especially led by Biden and Kamala Harris, they want to get to their inauguration. They want to heal the country and move on. So I think ideally they don't want to do an impeachment process. And the 25th Amendment, that would set a new precedent for removing a president and perhaps erode the ability of the people to choose their leader. So I think that's really a last resort. I think we saw articles of impeachment introduced by Ilhan Omar, sort of one of the more very, very progressive members, but I'm not seeing a groundswell for it. But again, a lot depends on what Trump is going to do in the coming days. Does he try to incite another mob that would probably lead to some kind of action? So, I think there's, on the Republican side, there's more whispers about this, just gaming it out as people do. But, we'll see in the coming days.
Well, we are seeing the president certainly lose support within his own administration. We're going to get to that in just one moment. In the meantime, Eric Wassen, thank you for your time. We are so glad that you are safe, and we really appreciate you giving us the latest from Washington.